It is Ticket Tuesday with George Dunham of the Morning Musers. Jub Jam is coming up. It's May 31st,
May 31st.
We're going to talk more about that in just a moment. A huge fundraiser. We're going to start with a busy time in sports. George, I know you heard some of the Jerry Jones show today, the pre-draft news conference with Jerry and Stephen and McCarthy. There was a little draft talk, but most of the hour was spent trying to explain why Dak and Parsons and Lamb haven't gotten done yet, as they've also brought very few other free agents in during this offseason. Jerry kept stressing that he's not being defensive here.
And he's still all in. Yeah.
He's still all in.
Yeah.
What did you make of that little circus today out there?
You know, usually I'm decent in translating Jerry. I have no idea what he was talking about when he talked about the three extensions and what is the advantage to not doing those. And he made it sound like, well, we need to see more. And I didn't hear the follow-up question. Maybe I missed it. I was waiting for the follow-up of, do you need to see more play from these guys, or do you need to see more contracts fall in place at those positions of CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Dak? It just struck me as strange even for Jerry. And I don't know. I have a crazy theory.
What's your theory?
I think they want to re-sign CeeDee Lamb. Call me crazy, but I'm not so sure they want to re-sign Dak and Micah. Does that sound outrageous?
Well, I think
based on their behavior?
I don't disagree about Dak. I think they're maybe still wondering about that. I guess I've always assumed that they want Parsons long term, but you're thinking maybe they're even wavering on that?
I wonder. And for a guy that has his own offseason workout program, a guy who, fits the bill of this is a dominant defensive player, but where was he when they needed him most? One tackle against the Packers. At least he made one tackle against that offense.
He made the one tackle.
He made the one tackle of the whole day. I don't know. It's just a strange theory, but I don't think anything is strange when you consider what they've done in this offseason. And I just don't buy, well, we're just waiting for some more cards to fall before we, get these extensions. These things take time. That's right. So why couldn't Dak at least say the other day, well, we've started the conversation anyway. He can't even say that yet.
Yeah. I was out there for that presser, George, and my head hurt after. It was almost an hour long, and I left feeling just more. What really was said? Jerry Jones, the system that's been in place, how much of that falls on and how much is he responsible for the fact that this team hasn't reached the promised land and coming up now on 30 years close to it?
Yeah, it's not all on him, but then again, he's the one common thread to the last 28 years. And I do think that he's come up before and he has compromised the coach by saying something that maybe is not the same thing the coach had said 2 hours earlier. I think the structure out there is just strange. And today's press conference wasn't it this franchise in a nutshell? Jerry's saying all these things that we can't keep up with, and Steven's just sitting there laughing. And McCarthy's down there going, well, I don't even know what they're talking about, but I'm looking for football players. It's just
disjointed a little bit.
It's just bizarre. It really is. And it started with that loss to the Packers, and it really has just been a continuation of that since January.
I think the best the Cowboy fans can hope for is that what we see at a news conference like this today is just at a news conference. And that behind closed doors during serious meetings, this isn't really the way discussions are happening.
I hope not.
They are.
I hope not. Because I know you're a McCarthy defender. I'm right there with you. I think he's done, given the circumstances, a really good job here. I love Will McClay. I know some of the scouts. I think they're really sharp. I just wish they would lean on those people a little more. I wish McCarthy had a bigger voice and Will McClay had a bigger voice. I think they would be in better shape. And maybe when they do have a voice and they're listened to, I think Jerry is always there ready to strike it down. And I think he has, to your point, Sam, I think he has compromised them several times in the draft room where they have put in months and months of work, and all of a sudden Jerry says, nope, tell you what, let's do this.
He did reference that a little bit. He said, I'm not perfect. He's made some mistakes, and
Sure.
he's had to live with those
mistakes. And everybody
mistakes.
does, yeah.
Hopefully this draft, we don't see as many mistakes or mishaps along the way.
They can't afford it. I mean, they have to hit on every pick. It's not draft and develop. It is draft and I think you're starting this year. Yeah.
Yeah, they need offensive line help, obviously, running back, linebacker, defensive line help. We'll see which way they go in the actual draft. Let's get to playoffs real quick here. We're going to stay away from the Mavs because that game's in progress. But the Stars fell behind 1-0, losing to the Golden Knights last night. I know I heard you Razor on with you guys this morning, breaking it down beautifully as he always does. Oh, yeah. Are you optimistic they can bounce back and even this series up?
Yeah, I am. I think they are. I think they're a special team this year. The problem is, so's Vegas, and now all of a sudden they're fortified like they haven't been really all year. And as Razor made the point, with a couple of other acquisitions they made during this season, they may be even better than they were last year. But I think the Stars are, and I think we thought this was going to be a 6 or 7 game bout. The problem is, now all of a sudden the Knights have home ice, and you've got to wrestle it away from them. That's going to be tough, but I think this team can still do it, and I feel better about them than I do the Mavericks, or certainly than I do the Cowboys.
All right. Damning with faint praise there from George Dunham. We come back and talk about Jub Jam, that big fundraiser, in a moment. We're back on Ticket Tuesday with George Dunham from the Musers. Jub Jam coming up next month, your musical fundraiser that has become a huge success. Give us the details.
May 31st, Longhorn Ballroom. Have you been there yet?
I have not.
The refurbished Longhorn, historic Longhorn Ballroom. It's beautiful, great venue, and we do it for the Senior Source of Greater Dallas, the organization that's done so much incredible work for the elderly here in our area since the early 60s. And we've got my little band, the Bird Dogs. We've got my good friend Bobby Duncan, who's now been there for all 13 Jub Jams, Michael Padgett, Isaac Hoskins, a guy named Gabe Lee that I think you're going to absolutely love. You probably will too, Sam. He's an amazing singer-songwriter. And then the friend of the people, Pat Green. Full band. His entire group's going to be there. And yeah, this is going to be, we say it every year, but it keeps getting bigger every year. So big that, Pat reached out to me right after we finished last year's Jub Jam. And he said, what would you think if I came back and did next year's? And I said, well, of course, that would be amazing. And if you only knew what he was doing this for, it's just, yeah, it's crazy.
In terms of how generous he's being.
Yeah, he's such a generous guy, and I just love Pat, and I know you've gotten to spend some time around him. I hope y'all can be there on May 31st. It's really going to be fun.
That sounds great.
George, why does this event mean so much to you?
Well, I got involved right after my parents went through their battles with a number of ailments. My dad had a stroke, my mom had dementia, and I saw firsthand how heartbreaking that could be, and yet we were very grateful as a family because we felt like they were well cared for and we could take care of them. I did see some examples of those who were, for all practical purposes, left alone. With their families. They didn't come by every day. When my mom was in a nursing home, and we worked it out in our family where there was someone there every day with my mom. And so I reached out to the Senior Source. I heard good things about them. That started an association. And then right around 2011, 2012 came up with the idea of, hey, let's do a musical. It's a festival, I guess. It's, it's just a night of music. But man, over 13 years now, we're over $1 million, and we hope to raise over $200,000 this year. And it's just, it's really heartwarming how the musicians treat it as such an important event, how the P1s have, and I've seen what it means to the Senior Source in terms of just real dollars, and it's just been great.
Ticket.com for more info?
Ticket.com, you get tickets, and our tables are sold out, but we have seats left.
Okay.
We have seats left.
I've sung before there, so that's old hat. Sam Gannon has a really good voice.
I heard the Iowa fight song. That was amazing.
That was a one-off, one-time
I don't
deal,
know.
George.
You guys need to work up a little bit of a number.
How about a duet?
May 31st.
We can each
When you
sing
say
our
nothing
school
at all,
fight
boy, that would be.
Silence in the stream.
Oh, yeah, that
She's
one.
never heard that song
Yeah,
before.
I love that.
Jub Jam coming up May 31st. George Dunham,
Thank you. Thanks for having me tonight, and thanks for all you do to help promote Jub Jam. I really appreciate that. And Fox 4.
You bet.
Thank you.